Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of Starfleet Command Orion Pirates Plus mod. We join ourselves after a fantastic last episode. Our light carrier and frigate escort went in there, kicked a whole bunch of butt, raided some convoys, defended some others, and didn't lose a mission. Which is a nice change from when we were losing the Green and the Powell and just getting absolutely ambushed by all kinds of heavy cruisers. So I'm hoping we can keep this luck train rolling. We're sitting on 1,580 prestige right now. We're saving up to about, I think it's like 2,060 to see if we can't pick up a strike carrier, which is a more powerful version of what we're flying. It's a heavy cruiser with a full fighter complement. So, the war is progressing pretty much as it was before. Still haven't taken back this planet, still pushing in here and here. And we've got a little bit of touching content going up here. We're really not in a position yet to do any major pushes right now. That I really do want to save until we get a heavy cruiser or bigger, until we start trying to shove against the actual full line. So until that happens, we're probably going to keep skirmishing here in the neutral zone, pressing up against it, and then sort of acting as a patrol force along the border. So, with that in mind, let's double check our supply. We're all repaired. Yeah, we're only missing 2 missiles. Fighter complement is full. Let's get stuck in it. So, lots of friendlies in the area. Looks like there's been a major push going on down here. And let's get stuck in this patrol. A monster fight. 2 monsters. Okay, so the big asteroid monster, that I think is going to be a plasma monster. And the tri-monster, I think, is a fusion cannon monster. If that's the case, Mr. Big Ugly Monster, he's really dangerous. He's less dangerous. Fusion cannons are super short-ranged. They're really meant to be right up in your face, punch weapons. They're not sniping long-range weapons like the Klingon disruptors are. So, not so worried about him. A little bit worried about him. So we're going to slow down a bit, make sure we can charge the capacitor up. Capacitor's all nice and charged. Probe away. Bust up that shield reinforcement just to give us a little bit of a buffer from being hit. It looks like the probe's going to pass in front of him first. Yeah, he's twin fusion cannon, and he's... Okay, so R is the biggest torpedo you can get, G is a solid torpedo, and F's are the smallest torpedoes you can have. So he's pretty well armed, all things considered. Luckily, he doesn't have the plasma torpedo D, which has a built-in point defense system, which utterly murders our fighters. So we can probably do quite a bit. Oh, and it looks like we've got friends. That's a police carrier, I think. I'll turn to face him after we get our... who cares? Yeah, that's a police ship. USS Morris. Cool little design. He's an older vessel, so hasn't been updated to the refit design as of yet. No doubt aspires to, like we do. And let's turn before we get too close to this guy. And get the fighters in on this. So his plasma torpedoes can be dangerous to my fighters, but I don't think he'll shoot at them. I don't think his AI can handle that. It might, but I really don't think so. Police cruiser. Or is our fighters... Yeah, our fighters are just going after whatever's closest, it seems. It's a little disappointing. Drive-by torpedoes. And fighters, they've fired, I think, their full complement. So we'll bring them back, reload their heavy weapons. Fighters can hold heavy weapons, but they can't rearm them. There's actually another class of sort of like light attack ships called pseudo-fighters, or PFs. Those are used by a couple of races instead of fighters. And they're basically like tiny frigates that attach to some of their larger carrier vessels. Basically they fill the same role, except, well, they're more capable than our fighters. but they're also a heck of a lot more vulnerable. They've got like very basic shields, but their shields can't really stand up to much. So it looks like Morris has dealt with that fusion cannon armed enemy. And we've brought... Is both our fighters home? No, we're still waiting on this Vulture Squadron to get back. So the Morris has his own fighters. We're going to be a little more conservative with our fighters than the Morris is, because we're not AI and we don't get free stuff. Although I think the Light Hawks are free. Or if they're not, they're really cheap. Okay, that is why I keep saying plasma weapons are dangerous. The Morris, being super cocky, got in front of our monster, and in one salvo got utterly gutted. That's why we do not fight the monsters like that. Or at least not these ones. Now just imagine that if you were fighting the Romulans and every one of their ships could do that. Yeah, not as much fun. So again, we're going to stick on the outside periphery, just fire at long range. Hopefully the Richards will not get too close. We don't want to lose him. But we have taken out their light plasmas, working on the heavier ones now. You're more likely to take out a hard point if you're within its firing arc. I don't know if these fighters are going to be necessary. Oh, they might be. You can sort of see a scrolling damage list here. This is the most recent attack, the next most recent attack, and the third most recent attack. Sort of how much damage it's done. There it goes. Mission complete. Good work. So, shame about the Morris, but I can't control that. If the AI is dumb enough to run headlong into the enemy, that's frankly the AI's fault. I think... No, that didn't give us control of the sector. I don't know if that's... I think that's the Hydrants, judging by the color. Either that or it's the Beast Raiders. If it's the Beast Raiders, that's a pretty crappy day. And I kind of want to push up here, but until I see a DN, I'm not going to do that. The thing is, I'm worried that if I go to a sector with a planet, I'll get another one of those planetary or asteroid base assaults. And we're just not able to take that. Okay, so raiding a criminal convoy, a Korgath or Krogath or something. Hey, it's the Powell! So the Powell got rebuilt into a Saladin class refit. So she's a much heavier monster now. So the Saladin class is basically a Constitution saucer with a Constitution nacelle underneath. They're used for destroyers in this game, and as you can see, this is one of the DDLs we were looking at a couple of episodes back and laughing about its power problems, and you can kind of see that with the way his torpedoes are charging. He had to wait until after his phaser capacitor fully charged before he could start charging heavy weapons. He's fighting a light little thing. That's not even dangerous. Powell will rip him a new one. So since we have no fear of any enemy at this point, and the Powell's going to take care of that guy all for us, we can just zip on in and fox him on the hens. Yeah, this isn't fair. Although, look at him go. I really do kind of like the Saladin design. It's sort of grown on me. They're in the stock game, the Saladin's not in it. Instead, it's the Kula class, which is basically the same thing here, except it also has a nacelle up top. And it's one of my favorite ship designs. So let's get the fighters going. This fighter And we will push onto this one. Commerce rating, yo. I only wanted to fire one. Whoops. Yeah, look at that. Nope. Not going to be able to kill him in one run. Don't bother with that. Is there another ship? Oh, looks like he suddenly realized that he had to deal with us. Alright, boys. Yeah, let's cause innumerable pain. Now, I think their heavy weapons are all used up, but their phasers will be more than enough to handle this. So all the freighters are destroyed. Now we'll get in there and we'll kill the escort, who's just a converted freighter. Poor guy. I almost feel sorry for him. Oh, this is interesting. So our phasers are fully recharged, but our phaser capacitor has no energy. So they're actually not going to be particularly useful. That was a proximity torpedo from the Powell. And there we go. Convoy annihilated with minimal effort. It's kind of exactly what we want to do. Keep this up. Hopefully we'll earn enough cash to get a better ship. Only 184 prestige. Convoy rating just does not pay the bills. We're not going to break into Klingon space. It's too dangerous at this point. Another scan mission. Yeah, attacking a big, heavily defended station is not what we're really capable of doing right now. So we'll rush in, scan a target, and go home. Doo-doo-doo. Richard's charging up its systems. Somewhere out there will be the enemy. And I kind of want to guess that it's going to be that light cruiser that we saw on the galactic map. It might not. It may just generate a random ship. And if it does, maybe we'll be lucky and it'll generate another one of those little tiny ships. The freighters. May just be an empty map, and that would be so very disappointing. Or he might be on the other side of the planet. Planets do block line of sight, so if he's somewhere over there, I can't see him. Though it's starting to look more and more like we came out here just to scan a planet which appears to be kind of inhabited. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything. And the map is pretty tiny. We're already seeing one of the board edges here. It's a tiny map, big planet. Probably going to be a super simple mission. And we'll get within range 10. Kick on the scanners.
Diverting power to sensors.
Dropping speed so we don't smash into the planet. Ugh, these planetary textures don't look so brilliant. Well, I suppose that shouldn't be too critical of that, considering the textures on my ship here. Although the textures on ships like the Richards over there and the Powell on the last mission are really nice. So good textures where it counts. Because honestly, how often do we actually spend time around planets? Scan's almost done. Start powering up. And we have the plan ready. Okay. Scan off. Yeah, I'm really thinking that... oh, mission complete. Closing session. So yeah, empty map. Every so often you get kind of a down mission like that. Although it has been happening a little bit more often than I'm used to. And only 20 prestige, so total waste of everybody's time. But we have 2,400 prestige. So, where is the nearest shipyard? There it is. Let's see. DNL. Dreadnought Light. It's got 5 photon torpedoes, 3 missiles, and 10 phasers. 57 power to move this thing. I don't know if it's actually a Ulysses-class dreadnought. That's what the portrait's showing. But like a lot of things this mod does, it adds in whole new models for dreadnoughts. That'd be cool, but I think we're still looking for that strike carrier. It doesn't quite look like the strike carrier is in the cards. This is a new heavy cruiser. This is the Miranda class, straight from the Wrath of Khan, complete with 4 forward and rear firing photon torpedoes. 1980 is CB, a heavy command cruiser. So we would be giving up our fighters to go back to a more traditional combat role. We might do that. Not 100% sure. NCA, again, new heavy cruiser. This one's basically a Miranda, except it's got missile launchers too, for maximum killage. I'm going to guess carriers don't come up quite as often because they're needed everywhere. NCC, new heavy command cruiser. These are pretty popular, at least in my opinion. I like them. See, I'm tempted to get one of those heavy cruisers because getting a heavy cruiser really does sort of give you a turning point in your game, because you really do have enough energy and enough firepower to really start taking on bases. But I kind of really want that strike carrier because we've been doing so well with the fighters, you know? So do we want to give up the fighters when we've been doing so well with it in this campaign? And sort of leaning on the answer is no. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to fix our fighters here. Repatch the number of missiles we got. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a couple more missions. And we'll keep on sort of visiting back here. And we'll hope that a strike carrier comes back up for a positional opening for us. No promises. It may never come up. But we at least want to try. Now we may have gotten a bit greedy. Because, as you can see, it's a heavy cruiser. He's working with a freighter, so that's not too dangerous. But, as we have proven in the past, heavy cruisers tend to be our doom. They just have so much hull and generally so much firepower that they can handle almost anything that we can throw at them. Now we have also munched on heavy cruisers in this thing before, so depending on what its fitting is, and I'm a little worried just because it kind of looks intimidating. F-type torpedoes, C-type launchers. I'm gonna hope and guess that that's not an anti-missile version, because I really want it to be a non-anti-missile version. And they've got fighters. Okay. So we're going to have to deal with this quickly, because we have seen what fighters can do in this game. Now, I think I would be right in saying that our fighters are probably better than their fighters. But, is that something you really want to test? Scatter pack's almost ready. That'll give us a nice big throw to go at him. Now, fighters are also really good on missile defense. Crap. That's awful. Come home quickly. Don't all die. That's really kind of frustrating. They perfectly complement each other, and I'm not really used to that. Oh, and they're targeting our fighters something fierce. So we're going to target them back. Let our own flak guns do the job. Fortunately, we just let on our flak gun out of ammo. Did they just kill our fighters? We have no fighters left. Okay, things may have gone to hell in a handbasket. Okay, we want to kill this fighter carrier. Because fighters without a carrier are much less dangerous. Carriers without fighters are also not very dangerous. Oh, and those fighters just... Those enemy fighters are mean. Now, on the bright side, we're holding our own pretty well. Part of that is because, you know, they've been focusing on our freighters and not on us. But I do think we've got a better than even chance here. So this time he's not going to be in the way. I'm not going to get there in time. Three of our freighters have gone down. I think we've only got the one left. Okay, so shocked him a little bit. But he's got enough of that he doesn't care. Yeah, we've only got the one freighter left. We're gonna fail this mission. Because I don't think... Yeah, we just don't have any fighters left. That surprise plasma D was just too much for us to handle. Trying to overload his system. He really doesn't look all that dangerous. I'm really tempted to hop over into the Richards and command from there, because his plasma torpedoes could really mean the difference between winning and losing this. And I don't really feel like he's making best use of them. Got that. Onto the heavy cruiser. We're gonna super quick target the tractor beam. Because if he doesn't have tractor beams, he can't keep tractoring our missiles. And that'll be a big deal. Please be nice to the Richards. Richards is doing mostly fine. Now, one of the problems with the way we've outfitted ourselves, we really do rely a lot on our fighters, and that comes down to how we sort of equipped ourselves with our drones. And we picked light drones so that we could just continually funnel fire down on the enemy. The issue with that is becoming that light drones only deal 12 damage, which really isn't all that much for a heavy weapon. We got twice as many of them, but you know, we have to take twice as long to kill them. In a somewhat time-sensitive mission like this is, that's not fantastic. And where it suddenly has become that our drones are our primary heavy weapon, that's even less fantastic. Switch over to his other side, and darn, he's just got just enough speed to make my life painful. Come on, Richards, get another plasma torpedo set. I don't think he's fired one plasma torpedo this entire run. Which would be pretty frustrating, because that's kind of the reason I keep him around. I don't really need to worry about this. They're only traveling at a speed of 16. Unless I drop below that, it's not really a threat to me. So it looks like his weapon's like that. Oh, crap. Mine! That's gonna bounce off the shield. Took it out, which leaves him weaker for the next shot. Oh crap, those are plasma torpedoes. We've got to rush away right now. And we're going to reinforce the rear shield. If we're lucky, they'll dissipate, but I don't think. Good. I thought they were pseudos, I'm not sure which one. Let's know for sure. His plasma torpedoes are both offline. Nice long-range missile shot. Go back to reinforce all. He's got to take that on the nose, which will hurt him though. Hopefully we can disrupt his power systems enough. Just not enough. On the bright side, one freighter will get away. On the downside, 75% of the convoy got wiped out. Which proves we can take these guys. We just can't really protect a whole heck of a lot while we're doing it. He's got a lot of tractor beams. And I'm worried. Drones last, I think, for 3 turns. Might be 4. And then they run out of fuel and just die. So I would like to disrupt his power enough that he loses his tractor beams and just gets murdered by these missiles we've currently got staring at him. Ah! Scary, scary. Not into me. That's a lot. He's got 5 tractor beams. He's just kind of sitting there in the middle of this little star of tractor beams, and we have damaged everything on that boat except for the tractor beams. I think that'll fall under the category of frustrating right there. Yep, and there, it ran out of fuel. And the phasers did it. Mission incomplete. We lost too many of the freighters. We weren't able to repeat that resounding success we had the one time where we saved the whole convoy. Zero prestige gained, 0 prestige lost. Not a great day for us. Come on, shipyard. Make me feel better. Give me one of those strike cruisers. BCG. Battle cruisers. Battle cruisers are cool. This is a Kirov class. They're basically light dreadnoughts in a lot of ways. I mean, 4 missile racks, 4 photon torpedoes. He won't have the same shields and he won't have the same power, but he has one heck of a throw weight in terms of weapons. A little bit outside my price range, unless I were to... If I were to sell the Argus, I could afford it. Diplomatic delivery. We have a serious question. So we can sell the Argus and we can afford a BCG. And you know what? That's what we're going to do. Trade in the Argus. Go to the shipyard. Buy ourselves a battlecruiser. The USS Missouri. So. Shipyard. I don't know of any way to transfer my flag over to the Missouri. Because whoever's in this front slot is going to be the one we start with. And we don't want to start in the Richards. So we're going to trade him into Gonna get ourselves some heavy weapons. Full complement. Shuttles. 6. No fighters, you'll notice. Bring on the Marines. Bring on the mines. And a little bit more spare parts. So we traded in a lot of prestige to get ourselves a battlecruiser. And we will accept diplomatic delivery. This is a special mission. We have to accomplish it. If we fail to accomplish it, we can lose stuff. The point of the mission is we have to get to this planet and deliver our diplomat. The enemy will try and stop us. Yeah. We're carrying a diplomat, which we will deliver to the conference being held in this sector. Let's see how much speed we can maintain. 16, I want to say. Which isn't bad. Being supported by a galactic survey cruiser. And this is the battle cruiser Missouri. Kind of like it. It's like a slightly flatter version of the warp nacelles from the traditional Constitution class. It's our first refit vessel. You can tell by the warp nacelles and the way the deflector dish is now sort of this glowing disc rather than a giant satellite dish sticking out of the side of our ship. We've got to face down a heavy cruiser. You'll also notice our shields are fantastic. Fire probe. Oh, cool. This is another of the Fossa designs. Kind of looks like a D7, but it's got another nacelle underneath the center of it. I think that means he's a battlecruiser like we are. And if that's the case, yeah, KFDW. Oh, we have so much more firepower than he does. So we're going to turn into him. And for once, we're just going to power up the forward shield. We can probably get that forward shield up to white, which is the strongest color. Yep, our forward shields are white. We're going to go for him first. We're going to overload the photon torpedoes. Double check to make sure, yep, we're still charging. We'll close in nice and close and just give them a full-on blast of Federation firepower. This is one of the fun things. We've really turned a corner. This mission's not going to quite emphasize just how much of a corner we've just come around. Once you hit heavy cruiser, you really do start taking the bigger, more important missions, the sieging planet missions. A battle cruiser is just that, plus more firepower. Battleships, you start going on siege missions, or dreadnoughts, you'll go on siege missions, and battleships, you can do whatever you want. The Federation battleship especially is like one of the most powerful battleships in the entire galaxy. We don't have a lot of them, and normally in peacetime, we keep them mothballed, because, you know, it's expensive, we're explorers, and we don't want to waste that. Look at that! Oh, just wrecked. Set back to normal. And he fired everything he had into our front. We absorbed it with the powered up shields. He fired everything he had in the rear. He couldn't punch through the rear arc. Now we pay for this sort of firepower by being kind of slow in terms of turning. We're more nimble than a dreadnought, but one of these cruisers would have been even more nimble. So coming around again. He's reinforced his shield, but I'm going to feel pretty cocky, and I'm just going to rip into it. Oh, that might take out my drones, though. Now, unlike our last set of drones, where we had been using Type 1s, these are Type 4s, which deal 24 damage a pop. We get half of them, but they're definitely a heck of a lot more powerful, and much more of a deciding factor as a heavy weapon in a fight. Just look at the size difference of that. He's a third our size. This isn't even a fight. This is an execution. There we go. And now we move on to the planet. Shut down the shield reinforcement so we have an accurate idea of how much power we're burning. We'll charge up the phaser capacitor to full just because, and stay on red alert. It's a mission of peace, but always be prepared for war. The Patton. Oh, I remember the Patton. The Patton or was it the Patton? I'm pretty sure we had a Galactic Survey cruiser named the Patton who was following us for a little while back there. So, always nice to have friends. And it's a Kirov class, and the model unfortunately does not support dynamic textures when it comes to registry numbers and name numbers, so it says USS Kirov, but we are the USS Missouri. Which is pretty cool. I really like these FASA designs. It's a FASA refit, so like I said, we have the cooler refit stuff, and that just enhances it as far as I'm concerned. Do we need to announce anything? No, we don't. Okay, so it'll just be beaming people out with the transporter. I think transporters have a range of 5. Also, we're going to bring a lot more momentum to bear, so slowing down is going to take a little bit longer. Look at that. Look at that decay rate and speed. It just goes kind of creeping down. Alright, that's enough pretending that we're at war anymore. The enemy's been dealt with. We're coming into this planet all nice and regal-like. Prepare the transporters. And pull slowly and regally into orbit. I really like battle cruisers. They're one of my favorites. Heavy cruisers a little bit more just because they have more utility. But battle cruisers, I mean, there's just something sexy about them. Because they're everything you like about heavy cruisers except more. So yeah, that's been good. We really have hit a turning point in this series. 380 prestige out of that. That'll be good. That'll put us back at a point where we can, just to check, that'll put us at a point where we can really start pressing into Klingon territory. The ship we have is much more robust. It will last a lot longer through a lot more enemy firepower. Keeping that in supplies is going to be a little bit of a trick. And are we going to have it? Yeah, we'll have enough to fully outfit it. So we are full on shuttles, missiles, spare parts, marines, mines. We are fully set, ready to go. Kirov class battlecruiser. So that's a great place to end the episode. We've just dealt with the enemy. We've shown off our brand new battlecruiser. And look, we're making inroads more into Klingon territory. It's time to start hitting the Klingon front line. So, I've been Tirak. If you like what we're doing here, hit that like button and subscribe. And I'll see you in the next episode.